you will probably need to be wasting additional 6 more years if you bought Thomson Tree just to enjoy the same gain as what Jadescape does in 3 years. So next thing, we're just going to go into the next chart here, which is Bishan and Ang Mo Kio in District 20 in 2018. And over here, I want to compare two developments in 2018. We have Jadescape, I think you all know where is that, okay? And also Thomson Tree, which is just down the road. So these two developments, we talk about, just share some attributes of them. Thomson Tree were launched in September 2013 and TOP in 2017. It's 445 units development. And comparing to another development, which is Jadescape, we then see that it was launched in September 2018, Phase 2 launch in July 2019, and TOP in 2023, which is this year, and we see 1,206 units. So many of them will then think that, Jadescape so many units, oversupply. I think next time the price very hard to beef up, okay? Because many people don't want to go into a development that is more than 1,000 units. So with that in mind, this is probably what I sensed on the ground back then in 2018. These are the attributes for Thomson Tree. They are very near 3 MRT train station. In fact, 8 minutes walking distance to Upper Thomson, 9 minutes to Mayflower, and 5 minutes to Marymount. And Jadescape as well, 1 minute to Upper Thomson train station, and 10 minutes to Mayflower, and 1 minute to Marymount as well. We see PSF of Jadescape back then in 2018 was $1,700 per square foot. Okay, something that in the Thomson precinct we never really seen before. Okay, and in 2018, Thomson Tree, which is a resale property, were $1,500 per square foot. Which would you buy? So many of them out there didn't know, and I'm just going to share with you that how it looks like for those that went in because of what? Undervalue. So what is undervalue? Because value is very different from many different people, right? Just like fulfillment is an art, it's also different from many different so-called people as well. So when people come to me, they say value equals cheap, and that's where they fall under the Thomson Tree category. They would have bought that because their frame of reference or their denominator is cheap. And for me, it's very different. What is value? Value means expensive, never mind, but must grow. Cheap doesn't grow, still doesn't worth anything, right, at the end of the day, because when you hold a property and you're exchanging your shelf life while holding up and collecting rental, you barely make much. Okay, so in this instance, let's look at how the performance of these two properties, if you were to select either or. So Thomson Tree against Jadescape. So in this instance, we talk about Thomson Tree, and this unit, which is 0507, a 732 square foot unit, sold at 1605 PSF, bought in 22nd of June 2018. Okay, at 1551 PSF, that's how much they purchased back in 2018. And the guy who entered Jadescape bought at about 1,714 per square foot, paying 200,000 more at 1.328 million. The size of these two units are not very far apart. We are talking about 732 square foot against 775 square feet. Okay, so by paying 200,000 more, does it make sense? If you look at the sale price, the one that bought Thomson Tree because it's cheaper only sold it for 1.174 million, whereas the one that bought Jadescape at 1.328 million were able to sell at 1.52 million. And that is effectively, if you look at the holding period, almost the same, 1,100 days to 1,126 days. The profit here is 40,000 against almost 200,000. Okay, so over the span of 3 years, we see the annualized growth at 1.2% for the one that entered Thomson Tree, and for the one at Jadescape, we see 14.9% over 3 years. Okay, this is effectively what, more than almost 4 or 5 times. Okay. So we then break it down into its prices in terms of entry and sale price. And of course, if you were to buy Thomson Tree back then, you are able to collect rental right away, which is what many people practice by way of immediate gratification, right? Okay, so in this instance, capital gain was about only 39,528, as you can see. But the rental they are collecting over 36 months, 2002, which is the rental for a 732 square foot unit back then, was 79,200. And with that, if you look at the matrix here, the cost involved for these two developments, for total interest paid back then 1.5%, very, very good. Interest payable for the Thomson Tree was 36,821. For Jadescape, they were paying about 28,268. For maintenance, Thomson Tree will be paying about 10,800. And for Jadescape, you will not be paying anything because you have not collected the keys. For property tax as well, you would have paid 5,544. Jadescape you don't have. And minor repairs and touch-up, we just put $8,000 within that period of time, especially so fitting out the unit for the first tenant to come in. And then rental commission, you got to pay that 1 year, 36 months period of commission, right? And that will work out to be about 3,300. So all in all, your net profit will be 54,263, even with the rental income right away. But for Jetscape, you enjoy 68,582. And with that, we are seeing a 3.1 times more in profit. So if you guys guessed Jetscape just now, good for you, but hopefully you advise your friends or even yourself to go in as well, because many a times when you talk to people, they are using a real view mirror as a denominator for their investment for the future. So what I mean is that they always use a yardstick of comparing to the past while they are investing for their future. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense, right? You should be investing for the compelling future and not using the past or last transaction or last development as a marker, which many people are seeing. That's why they are not willing to fork out more money to buy something that's much more expensive, because they need to see something that was done before, okay, and then they are willing to do it, which is going by this habit of certainty, okay? Only certain that it's done before, then they will do it. So next thing, we talk about effectively how much shelf life you will expand as an investor. So we always talk about shelf life of the property, but what about yourself as an investor? So effectively, you will need to hold Thomson Tree, if you bought into Thomson Tree, for 9 years to achieve what Jetscape does in 3 years. You will probably need to be wasting additional 6 more years if you bought Thomson Tree just to enjoy the same gain as what Jetscape does in 3 years. So more importantly, you want to make sure that if you are able to go back into the marketplace again, you are able to borrow, your income is still strong. And if you're exchanging 9 years instead of 3 years to get the same amount of money, you are effectively wasting your shelf life. And with the ABSD, which is the policy that was introduced back in 2010 already, many of us can't do the kind of investment that many investors did in the past by way of collecting, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, no problem, there's no ABSD. But right now, if you want to enjoy it, you got to ride out 4, 5 years and then do this. But if your property is not going to give you that profit, you already put in that sunken cost, and that will make you very, very tough to even release this property because of the sunken cost and it's stagnating. Okay, so don't fall into the trap thinking that cheap is good or cheap is undervalued. Alright? So next, we need to talk about fasting forward to year 2022. Okay, in the same Bishan Ang Mo Kio District 20. And we learned just now that Thomson Tree, it's also within the area of Jetscape, and both of these development right now will be considered resale. Reselling at about $1,600 per square foot in year 2023. And then for Jetscape, they're reselling about $1,900 per square foot right now. So the new kid on the block will be AMO Residences. Okay, and AMO Residences were commanding at $2,150 per square foot. Effectively, we saw 98% sold out or take-up rate for 372 units, and the penthouse was sold for as high as $6 million or $2,400 per square foot back then. So my question to you guys is, do you think AMO is a good buy? What if I tell you that there is more land parcel in the area? Would that change your perspective? Okay, so the street plan of AMO, Ang Mo Kio Avenue 1, this is the master plan of AMO. Okay, and if you look at the master plan side by side with the street plan, you will then be able to see that there is more plots available, 1, 2 across the Bishan Ang Mo Kio Park. In fact, before the Ang Mo Kio Park, there's one more I think my team would have missed out. It's over here, just beside AMO at 3.2 plot ratio. So I know there's actually 3 more plots that it's available. And we learned that just that few launches that happens within Jetscape, Thomson Tree and whatnot, prices really shoot up tremendously. And more importantly, that train station, if you look at the master plan, you follow my cursor, parcel 2, it's still zoned as a residential plot, but it is part of the Bright Hill train station, part of the Thomson East Coast Line, which has already opened. So if there is a change in land use plan in the next master plan update in year 2024, this will be a gold mine, because right now what government is trying to do is make any site that yet to be launched at MRT area to be at least a mixed use development. Either a pink color site, which is first story commercial, second story onwards will be residential, or if not, mixed use development or integrated one, just like what we have at Lentor, right? That make Lentor go crazy at $2,500 per square foot. So if you're able to see like 2005 or whatnot, which is today what is done at Lentor, comparing to here where there is multiple reputable schools such as ITOM, Catholic High and whatnot, you will then know that this place is basically, it will be very attractive. Okay, so I hope these little insights I'm sharing with you will change your perspective, because many people will then think that, oh, you know, why not I buy Jetscape? So these people will pay the premium to the first owner, paying about $300 per square foot just to make sure that they could then use that for what? registering their children for that 1 km school, the reputable primary school. And if you're near that school, it's an evergreen so-called property investment that you have already hold. So very interestingly, if you want to look into it, we can always dive into the master plan and look at what are the upcoming sites in the area, especially we talk about the reputable primary school. Okay?